What is going on, guys? My name is Will, but you can call me Tay, and today I've made another spontaneous trip to Michigan's Adventure for my first time ever. What's insane is I've actually done a lot of work in Michigan, but this park has always been at least 3 hours from me, even in Michigan. The two closest parks here are Six Flags Great America in northern Illinois, as well as Cedar Point in northern Ohio, and both of those parks are 5 hours away. So I'm excited to get in here, and yeah, a lot's been said about this park, but let's go in and let's form our own opinion. Go in with an open mind, and yeah, I'll document everything for you guys. The first interesting thing here is that they do have preferred parking, but you actually don't get that for having the Prestige Pass like you would at a normal Cedar Fair park. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Also, you're watching my summer of content. If you're new, be sure to subscribe. I'll be uploading a new video at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Friday. So yeah, be sure to check the channel from that all summer long. So that's where you enter right there, and I guess this is your main entrance here. Maybe if we walk around the corner here, there'll be something a little bit more grand, but yeah, this is what you walk into right there. And as soon as you turn that corner, you've got your coasters driving, which is at like every, Legacy Cedar Fair park, and their Corkscrew coaster, which at least is painted pretty freshly. Oh, look at the line for that. Doesn't look like we are in for a lightly crowded day. So we're gonna head to Shivering Timbers first. So it's weird, especially being a Kings Island home parker, but there's like no sign, at least that I can see, on this main strip for their Dodgems, which is actually a pretty big building for it. And yeah, it looks like we're approaching this bridge where we'll get a great view of a lot of the rides at the park. Now this is actually a beautiful view, and I'm sorry, it's a very windy day, especially because we're near the water, but what's insane is I've done a lot of B&M inverts in this over 10 years, or excuse me, over 15 years that I've been an enthusiast, but I have never done a Vekoma SLC. Somehow, even though I've traveled north, south, east, and west, I've never been to a park that's had a Vekoma SLC. But it looks like that one is closed today, so I'm not gonna get my first one here. Yeah, it looks like Wolverine Wildcat, I think is the name of this one, but let's head to Shivering Timbers first. I guess we keep going this way. So it looks like we've got a little bit of scenery here. At least it's not completely bare. Right there next to their log run. Oh, there's a general store at every park. And yeah, I think we keep going down this path maybe, or make a right to Shivering Timbers. I have no clue. Sorry if this is your home park. So don't do what I did, which is walk to the exit of Shivering Timbers. Oh, that's the fast lane entrance, and there's nobody in it, I guess. Oh, this is where the train is. Probably gonna get some copyrighted music. So let's head back to where Shivering Timbers actually is. So I just asked if they do the one free fast lane with the Prestige Pass, and she said no, but fast lane for the entire park is $55. I might actually do that. That's kind of a steal. Something just got in my eye. I also have not seen a bathroom, so I'm gonna look for one of those quickly. So there's the main sign and queue entrance, I guess, and they are stacking, which at least means they're running 2 trains, but means the operations aren't great. So it's gonna continue along this way, see if maybe there's a bathroom, but yeah, I'm just sorry if this is your home park. I have no clue where to go. So we are on the back side of their log flume, and it looks like we've got some flat rides here. I didn't see a sign that says what this part of the park is called, but a couple of flat rides, and this is the way we came. So I'm gonna head back there, and yeah, I'll probably get fast lane just because there was nobody in line for Shivering Timbers. So if that lets me get more rides on that, then I won't complain. So this park is actually like 6 hours from my house in Columbus. So if I can get a fast lane and that gets me out of here a little bit quicker to do that drive back, then I won't complain, because yeah, I'm already a little tired from that drive out here, but let's get this fast lane. So now going back towards the fast lane entrance, I wonder if there was some sort of ride here, but this random grassy area is very weird looking. Talk about a steal, a fast lane for $55. Well, that's just because I'm used to Cedar Point's prices, but yeah, let's go on and let's give Shivering Timbers a ride. They are sending this train empty, and here's a little bit of the look of the line that we skipped. So actually not too bad. The app says 30 minutes, so this would not be a 30-minute line at any park with decent operations, but hey. Of course, if you know me, then you know I'm waiting for the front row, but considering we walked up for a 2-train wait, it's not bad at all. So let's test out these operations.
Check the seatbelt to confirm that it is locked.
Well, that's interesting. You know what? That's a lot better than Holiday Road. I will not complain about that any day.
You guys are rolling out of here, so sit back, hold on tight, and enjoy your ride on Shivering Timbers. Have fun.
Well, that was Shivering Timbers. I mean, certainly a lot to say about that ride. So Voyage is my #1 wood. And the first 2 hills on Voyage, they give you some decent floater, but you're actually like, you can stand up. That's how great the floater is. And every hill on that kind of hits similarly to that. I wouldn't say there's like a standout ejector moment, but just an absolutely floater airtime buffet. And I sat in the front, and that was still the roughest wooden coaster I've ever been on. In fact, those first few hills, you could tell they put some of that new RMC track on it. And yeah, very, very interesting ride. I've got mixed feelings about it, but I still thought it was awesome. Well, I think because it's right here, this will be our next ride, Wolverine Wildcat. So let's see how long the fast lane line is for this thing. I don't know why right here, but this part of the park smells like absolute garbage. Like, ew, it's disgusting. So here's the main entrance, and then it looks like the fast lane entrance sort of shares its queue with the exit of the ride. So let's go ahead and walk up. There's the queue for this ride. Actually, looks like it just ramps up to the station and stops there, but it's listed at 30 minutes. As I was walking away from Shivering Timbers, excuse me, it said that wait was 40 minutes. Oh, that's the problem. This ride is on 1 train. So, yep, there's our issue right there. Again, sorry for the breeze, but just stopping here, you can see the SLC is over there. There's a water tower. I'm going to zoom in here. And their Corkscrew coaster. I really like that it's got this sort of central water feature that adds a great view of, honestly, everything that's on the water. Of course, Shivering Timbers isn't, but still very cool to see. The water park over there, of course. And yeah, just like Holiday World, it's got its water tower. Well, you would feel like with the cheap fast lane tickets and the fact that the park is a little bit more crowded than usual would seem today, that there would be more people who would buy fast lane, but I guess that's not true. Fast lane looks like we got a 2-train wait for the front. Yeah, let's try this Woody out.
Wolverine Wildcat, meow. Welcome back, riders, on your ride.
So he manually controls the brakes. That is actually extremely cool and old school. So that was that. I'll talk about it in 1 second. I just want to enjoy this view of this park. Interesting that it looked like they had the RMC track on Shivering Timbers, but there was some GCI Titan track on this one. Let me zoom in. Yeah, and there is a little bit more than just that section, so I think that makes it the first ride I've been on that has GCI Titan track. All right, so that was Wolverine Wildcat. I mean, the 2 large-scale wooden coasters here are not smooth at all, so I guess it doesn't surprise me that instead of putting the maintenance in, they were so quick to add steel track on them, but that was actually really fun. What's weird is that there's a pitch black tunnel where you can't see your hand in front of your face before the lift hill, which got me by surprise. There's some good airtime moments, some good laterals, but yeah, that was an interesting ride. So yeah, the 2 main wooden coasters are right across from each other, and it's great that to already have both of them done. I think I'm gonna head for one more ride on Shivering Timbers that you see towering over there before we explore the rest of the park. Always a great sign to see closed food location. So I actually asked an employee, and they said that was the closest bathroom to Wolverine Wildcat, which is all the way on the other side of there. So I guess maybe because it's such a small park, they don't need that many bathrooms, but let's head on Shivering Timbers. So one thing I wanted to point out is that these do not have the Kings Island PTC trains where the lap bars only have 4 settings. There's probably like 10 or something if I had to guess, which means better large person accessibility. And as long as you get the seatbelt on these, I think you'll be able to fit. The weird thing is though, so there's a divider that divides each row into 2 seats. At Voyage on Holiday World, the bigger seat, if you're facing the front of the train, the bigger seat was on the left. But on Shivering Timbers, the bigger seat is on the right, which is really interesting to me. So it does look like I'm not the only one with the fast lane today, but hey, I think I'll leave the park with more rides than I originally anticipated. So it reminds me a little bit of California's Great America, where the queues actually aren't set up to get super long, but when you have poor operations, queues will be longer than, of course, the rides at Cedar Point if they were to have the same amount of people. Yeah, this is what they call 30 minutes at this park, which would be 15 or 10 at Cedar Point and Kings Island, I feel like. So, okay, we've got a train here. So you would think the next train is parked right there, but it's parked all the way back there. So even if they went really fast, there's still that time where that train has got to traverse all of that and come into the station. So yeah, interesting. That's actually the transfer track right there. So you would think with some new programming, they'd be able to speed things up a little bit. Because yeah, they're actually not doing too bad in the station. So that is 2 front row rides on Shivering Timbers. Normally I'll give the back a try, but I am not gonna do that on this ride. And you guys remember, I've been on Mean Streak a lot of times when it was a thing. And the Beast is at my home park, one of my most ridden coasters ever. That ride is so rough. So you go down the first drop, and then at the top of that first airtime hill, the RMC track hits, and it goes for like the next airtime hill after. So that part is smooth, although you can feel it like there's a small jolt where you go through each section of track when it, like, you know, when the steel ends and the next steel piece begins, you can feel that. And then after that, it goes back to normal wood, and it is just so insanely rough. I mean, I'm torn if this is an elite wooden coaster because there's so much airtime, but at the same time, it's also repetitive and extremely rough. So I'm like, is this in my top 3 woods, or is this more like Racer at Kings Island, where it's just got some great airtime moments, but doesn't do a whole lot more? So yeah, that's, I don't know. That's 2 rides there, both in the front. Oh, and by the way, every time the train comes back to the station, you know, with an elite ride, everybody's cheering when it comes back to the station. With this ride, everybody's so quiet because it's like they're trying to react to what happens and know if their body is okay or not. And yeah, both times the people behind me complained about how rough it was. I really don't know what to think about that. So we've just got unattended stands. Such an interesting place. Some Powerade, and oh, that one's out in watery. That one had a little bit of blue. Wow. So finally somebody walked over from the Dippin' Dot stand and helped us, but you saw the options were out, at least that I wanted. So again, trying to keep an open mind, but let's explore the rest of the park. I've spent all my time on the right side with Shivering Timbers and Wolverine Wildcat, so let's go check out what else they have on offer. So I was talking to the guy who controls the brakes manually on Wolverine Wildcat. So I guess, I don't know if the ride doesn't have programming or what, but that's normal. That's what they're trained to do. And yeah, I asked if this thing always only has 1 train, and he said yes. So I guess that would make sense why the queue's a little longer for this one. Yeah, 1 train ops. It's interesting. I mean, I guess that's how the ride was built. And yeah, their woodies here are rough. So let's see if we can get on some steel rides. It looks like this path joins with that one over there, coming from here. So I'm gonna wander over here. And there's another rare ride type over here. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is an extremely rare ride type, the Arrow Wild Mouse. And what's crazy is actually I saw the second of these at California's Great Adventure earlier this year. And yeah, I'm not sure, it's listed at 1 hour. If it's got a fast lane, then maybe I'll actually be able to get this really rare credit, but this isn't one I was expecting to get. I was actually gonna skip it before I knew that fast lane was so cheap. So I didn't want to believe what people said about this ride, where apparently they only let 1 car run through the course at a time. That's pretty close, because when that one dropped off, the other one had just hit the brake run. So that's why this line moves so slow. So if we can use fast lane to get a rare credit, definitely gonna do that, because who knows how much longer this ride, and to be honest, I'm starting to think who knows how much longer this park has. So yeah, let's get on an Arrow Wild Mouse. And we've got an abandoned 3-point shot game. Doesn't look like there's any prizes, so this has probably been abandoned for a while. Took some looking, but here is the fast lane entrance for Mad Mouse. So let's see if we're gonna skip this, and would be a great rare credit to get. Oh, we're gonna walk right up to the station. That's awesome. So that was an Arrow Wild Mouse. This exit feels like it's right on top of my head. I'm really glad I got that, because I missed it every time I've been to California's Great America. So I feel better about not getting to ride that one. We walked right up, right on. What's interesting, especially as a bigger guy on Wild Mouse coasters, you get not a lot of space, but I actually had plenty of room and there's trims on this ride, but none of them were hitting. So on those turns, I was like actually out of my seat, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel like an aero. And then we went down one of the drops and got airtime, and at the apex, somehow with the shaping, the backrest like went into my back. I was like, oh, that was definitely a jolt I wasn't expecting. So maybe I'll skip the chiropractor trip this weekend. But I mean, that was fun. I didn't think an aero wild mouse would be one of the highlights of this park, but yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, so there's trims there they didn't hit. There's more trims there that didn't hit, and then there's another set over there that again did not hit. That is, wow. So that's a bonus credit that I didn't think I'd be able to get. So how cool that I was able to get that. We're gonna go to the other aero now, which means that aero is probably the smoothest ride total in the park. And yeah, looks like we're gonna wrap up getting all 4 of the credits that I might be able to get because the SLC still has not moved. Again, this is your main entrance to the left, and you just come out to Coaster's Dine-In and an aero Corkscrew. So let's check the fast lane entrance to see how long this line is, and then we'll adventure around the rest of the park. This line actually doesn't look long, but again, looks like they've got 1 train ops, so that would make sense why there's even a line at all. Look at this, what a cool ride sign. And yeah, I just love the color that they painted this. There's no sign, but I'm guessing the fast lane is this exit. Lakeside Beer Garden. Looks like they've got, you know, sort of a chill vibe set up here for when you walk that way. So we'll probably do that when I come off. And yeah, let's get on their second aero coaster here. Oh, just look at Wolverine Wildcat over the lake. I promise we are going to be going around that side of the park and then walking to get some shots. Oh, look at how much shorter that line is now too. Oh, wow. I mean, some beautiful sight lines. We'll probably do that one more time. And you can see Shivering Timbers in the back as well. So yeah, let's knock out this final credit that I'll be able to get today and then do some rerides. So it looks like we've got an upcharge putt-putt sort of thing here. I can't tell if this is in action or not because there's nobody on it and doesn't appear to be anybody staffing it, but I guess this is a beautiful place to have it. It's got some scenery as well. Not bad looking at all. And yeah, I guess the water park sort of butts up with the main park. We'll see when we walk around that area, but just want to knock out this last coaster credit so then we're free to do whatever we want. We've got yet another drink stand and restaurant closed. What is this called? Midway Munchies. So yeah, I have not seen anything that I want to use my meal plan at yet either. So maybe we will see something, maybe we won't. All right, so let's enter the queue. Again, I don't count credits, so I don't really need to do this, but it's an Aero Classic and this park doesn't have a lot else, and I've actually saved a lot of time today. So I guess we will see how bad these operations are and maybe wait this one out. And again, proving these small park vibes. This is all the queue they have set up for this ride. So, you know, it's probably 2 hours if it was full, or at least an hour, but not really set up for large crowds. Love that aero lip sound. I miss it at Kings Island. Oh, and it smells. You can smell the oil that I miss smelling as soon as you left Vortex's station at Kings Island. That's it. Always cool to see. So none of these rides have separators, which I kind of actually prefer. So people just flood the station when there's space. And yeah, I think maybe there'll be a pop of airtime on the drop if I sit in the back. So let's sit in the back. We've actually moved to this point in only a few minutes, so maybe the line isn't as bad as it looks. wow, so it looks like another ride where they manually control the braking. It's actually really interesting. So I've never seen this. One person checking the restraints of both sides of the train. That is, wow. That's really interesting. And I'll film it when the train comes back, but he has to manually lift up or manually step on the lever that pulls up the restraints for each car. Yeah, so he manually has to do that. That is very interesting. Yeah, so they manually control the brakes. So either this thing is really old school or Michigan's Adventure decided not to pay for some of the upgrades that have come out for some of their rides. So I heard them say they're waiting for maintenance, but they're not going to make an announcement, of course. We're just going to sit here with the gates closed while everybody wonders what's going on. Oh my goodness. Just the little things. So a little bit of context. Again, I'm sure they're trained, but this started because one of the operators said they heard a weird noise as it was going around that turn. So they called, and then I guess maintenance told them to wait till we get here and clear you guys. So yeah, didn't think this ride would take up all of my time today, but I think I'll wait a little longer and see what happens. Well, so maintenance arrived. They told maintenance we heard a popping noise. Maintenance walked around, looked at every wheel assembly, sent it twice, didn't hear it, and opened it, and we were fine. So that was really interesting. So that was Corkscrew. Actually wasn't too bad at all, not too much head banging. I would definitely say the Wild Mouse is the smoother of the two arrows here, but yeah, I'm gonna walk through their kids section just to film that, and then we'll explore the rest of the park. So again, main entrance just around the corner. There's the backside of coasters, and yeah, entering their kids area, which I think is the newest refreshed ride, or excuse me, refreshed area that they've done here. Zach Zoomer is basically their Woodstock Express, but I will show it in a second. I actually like that they did not paint it blue. So if I was like a kid, I'd be like, oh, this is just a wooden roller coaster, even though it's shorter. And then once I do that one, it would make me want to do some of the bigger wooden coasters here at the park. I'm just going to take a quick left just to showcase this. Don't think, I don't care enough about credits to get on this. Yeah, no, I don't see a need to do that. Oh wow, looks like you can see an arcade, a couple of arcade buildings. Or whatever they house. Those buildings look closed. And is this stand open? Okay, it is open. The Auntie Anne's is open. You know what? Screw it. We've got time. So we might as well do this. Let's just pick an open row. Sit by ourselves. Well, that was Zach Zoomer, the smoothest of the three wooden coasters here. And I've done multiple Woodstock Expresses, so I knew pretty much what to expect. But yeah, I like that they did not paint this one blue. I think it's actually pretty cool. So yeah, now let's check out the rest of their kiddie land before taking this scenic walk that I've been excited to take all day. Something else I wanted to point out that I noticed riding Corkscrew, like Holiday World, when their rides close, they don't actually close the queues. So you could of course walk up and see that the ride is closed instead of being turned around at the entrance. So yeah, again, one of those little things. But now entering Camp Snoopy. Oh, look at this. And this animatronic is broken. It's supposed to go it's supposed to tilt back and forth over the waterfall. Got a nice little playground there. And yeah, not a whole lot of rides. Got some, is that real grass or turf? I can't really tell. I think it's real grass. Yeah. So of course, having been to a decent amount of Cedar Fair parks, you know what to expect when you get to their kiddie areas. This one is actually really, really small. A lot of parks will have like a Camp Snoopy and a Planet Snoopy, or I know Cedar Point's got like Kitty Kingdom. So yeah, it's worth walking around. I think I don't care about credits enough to sit and wait for this kiddie coaster. Well, there's no wait, but I'm not doing that. So let's keep walking. And it looks like that's pretty much it. So we rejoin this pathway right here. And wow, look at that view of their SLC. Wow, now this is what I was excited for coming to this park. Looking at some of these views around this body of water. Definitely have to take some footage and some shots. I think I'm just gonna walk back there for now and then grab some shots along the way back, unless the opportunity presents itself. I mean, wow, just look at these photo ops of these two rides here. Like I said, Shivering Timbers is not on the water, but these rides look great. Still no action going on with Thunderhawk, their Vekoma SLC. Hopefully I don't get copyright with that music. And yeah, butts right up against the water park. I don't think you enter the slides from this side, but the water park is right there. So yeah, so I'm sure we'll probably pass the entrance to the water park, but there's some slides back there behind the trees. And yeah, looks like a cool water park. This slide could definitely use a repaint, but the crowds do seem to be thinning a little bit. Nobody on this pathway, and it looks like the ride for Wolverine Wildcat has gone down as well. Well, this place is Pizza Paradise, and other than coasters, this is the first, sort of place that I would even think about using my meal plan at. But let's go over here and make a right. Well, here's a look at the park map. Like it says, we are right there. So again, got Wolverine Wildcat, Shivering Timbers right next to each other. And then got the Wild Mouse there and Corkscrew. So much in this front sort of cluster. And yeah, once you get to the back, there's not a whole lot. It would be cool if this pathway connected there somehow to make a loop, but yeah, let's keep walking. I am going to interrupt. So that right next to this pizza place, that is the entrance to their water park. So it does look like not just the coasters are closed. Those two water slides look closed. Oh wow, look at those body slides back there. Especially that one with the straight drop. That looks like it would be really fun, but that one is closed. And wow, I mean, look at this view. That Corkscrew over there, Wolverine Wildcat. You can see Shivering Timbers in the background. Definitely going to take some pictures. And you can pay to actually do this paddle boating thing here. I don't think I'm going to do that. Yeah, no, because again, this park is 6 hours from home. So if I can save a little bit of time that I will have to drive in the dark by leaving a little earlier, then I will definitely do that. So back there, you could just see the splash. It looks like they've got like a Snake River Falls type ride there. Then they've got their upcharge swing ride. And yeah, let's keep walking. So this looks beautiful and freshly painted. And I know the average enthusiast would never be excited for an SLC, but I have done so many B&M inverts. And I really just want to see how the SLC compares. It looks like such an interesting ride. I would have loved to have been able to do my first one today, but I guess that's not going to happen. Absolutely no action. Another cool entry sign reminds me actually of Firehawk, especially with the red track, but this attraction is closed. Won't be getting my first SLC today. Well, sat in the test seat, and it does have the old school Vekoma restraints. Would have fit very comfortably in that, but yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any signs of action. I'm gonna keep walking this way just to see where the dead end is, but look at this thing. I mean, that nice bright red would have been very cool to finally get on a Vekoma SLC. And yeah, other than Shivering Timbers, honestly, this was the ride I was looking forward to the most at the park, which I know, again, is very weird. At least it looks like they've got two trains. I think there's one in the station and one, as you can see, on the transfer there. But yeah, nothing much going around here. So I guess in the back corner, they've got their Rapids ride. And yeah, it's actually not too hot today, but it is humid. But I am not going to do the Rapids. One thing I did want to say also is I checked their website, and this ride was not listed as one of their closed rides on the website. So maybe it's a temporary thing, who knows? But I mean, it looks so fresh. So I would assume maybe that's the smoothest ride in the park. Okay, so when I was doing Shivering Timbers earlier, we accidentally found what was the other station of this. And yeah, it looks like this is where it ends. So I guess if you don't want to walk all the way around, you can take this there. And this is just a dead end over here. A complete circular dead end. So look at all this area that they've got back here to, potentially put a ride. Looks like there's some sort of lagoon with water behind that train. So they'd probably have to cut a lot of trees, but there's definitely some room to expand. It looks like this area just connects to the exit of the SLC there, and yeah, it doesn't look like anything is going on there. Yeah, no attempts to fix whatever is wrong, so looks like we're gonna miss out on this, but I am still happy to have gotten on 5 new coasters today. Really didn't know what to expect coming in. Obviously, I would have rather had this than Zach Zoomers, but with what people say about these rides, I will not complain. It's so nice and quiet. Again, it is humid, but it's so nice and quiet. No music back here. And yeah, nobody here at all. Or nobody back here. Obviously this ride's closed, but yeah, let's head back and let's get some great pictures and some shots. While I'm back here, I did want to show this whole turn has got the GTI Titan track on it. Yeah, so that whole, one of the last turns of the ride is completely full with the GTI Titan track. Now let's head back over. I know everybody is going to yell at me, but look at this series of inversions right here. That is one of the coolest looking inversions I've ever seen. I would love to be able to ride this thing. Obviously, I've heard that it hurts, but I just think it looks so cool. And yeah, maybe I'll get an SLC at some point. I've been to so many parks. If I had to guess, I would guess I have like over 150 credits. Obviously, I've been California, Florida, Cedar Point, Hershey Park, like literally anywhere, so many different places. So yeah, never gotten on a Vekoma SLC, and that streak is going to continue. Look at this, another closed drink stand. Normally you would find like maybe 1 or 2 of those at other parks, but yeah, very, very interesting. This thing looks so cool the way it would go. Yeah, they go over water there. And yeah, it's cool to see. Let's enjoy these views. You know, I'm starting to wonder if maybe staffing is the reason this isn't open, because they've got the train in the station. It looks, you know, I feel like maintenance, we saw maintenance go to Corkscrew, so you'd think they would be working on something if it was closed, but yeah, I guess maybe it's easier to just close this ride. That's the only thing in this section of the park, the only major attraction there. Look at that. And I completely just missed the shot that I was waiting for of that. Sorry, I'm just not over this. Look, again, look at how cool this inversion looks, and then look at this. I know enthusiasts call everything a wave turn. That's probably just an overbank turn, but I don't know. I just think it looks so cool, and one of these days I'll get an SLC, or maybe they'll all be closed by the time I finally am lucky enough to do one. I don't know how I've been able to dodge them for as long as I have. On another second, because I've never seen one of these cyclone slides where you have to carry your own tube up, because you know they're 4-person tubes. Those things are huge, so they normally have the ramp that takes them up for you, but I guess not at this park. I mean, just look at that. That's wow. So as I'm walking around this water to get some more shots, you know, when I did my research for this park, I saw that it was open from 11 to 8, and I was like, wow, no night rides and not open till 11. Those are very limited hours. And then walking around and seeing how the crowd's dying down, I've realized, you know, there's just not that much on offer to keep you here for an entire day. You know what I mean? Even if it was very crowded, and you waited in lines, you wouldn't need to be here for that long. So very, very interesting. It's also got me thinking, like, there's nothing here that would make me want a season pass. Like, if I lived in the area, or if this was my home park, I would probably come once a year, and you know, that's good enough. And you know, who knows, maybe this is like a Holiday World situation. Well, Holiday World has a great amusement park too, but maybe their water park is just so good that it outshines the amusement park, which, you know, is completely understandable. But I don't know. I don't know. But this is just absolutely beautiful. What a setting for a park. And more copyright music. Sorry for those copyright mutes. Let's keep walking. So one of the other things, I've walked around Cedar Point and Kings Island and been like, hey, we should put Railblazer, you know, and plots of land at those parks. And then I went to CGA earlier this year, as you saw from the vlog, and I was like, you know what? With how low the capacity is, that line would get insanely long. I feel like this park could definitely use a ride like Railblazer, although I don't know if this park deserves it. I don't know if they could upkeep it when you can't get your SLC opening. I feel like that says a lot, but you know, a ride like Railblazer I feel like would fit really good here. You know, just a standout ride that's steel, you know, that should, for the most part, take care of itself and not get insanely rough over the years. Because I just cannot get over how good, you know, this waterfront and everything around it looks. I mean, imagine like Railblazer in that corner or something like that. Who knows what this park's gonna get, or who knows if this park's the next on the chopping block. A couple other things I wanted to note, especially because I've been to Holiday World this year, I can tell, but this park is really, really flat, which is awesome and good to see. And yeah, it's not a huge park, you know, not doing too many steps today. It's got, you know, walking around here is big, but so many of the coasters are, you know, all right next to each other in the front. You know, I thought this park would really have me drawing a lot of comparisons to California's Great America because of the size of the park. But the thing is, California's America has some great rides, and it's actually bigger than this park, but it's got some elite rides. This park doesn't really have any of that. So, you know, even though California's Great America is smaller, those elite rides, you know, bring up the experience a little bit. This log flume actually looks really, really cool. It reminds me of the one we used to have at the Columbus Zoo years ago. And again, I mean, what a view. Oh, you can walk out here, actually. Well, let's do that just to take some pictures, if nothing else. Well, it's really nice. Sorry for the wind being on the water, but it's really nice that they built this sort of viewing platform for some of these rides. It's gonna make for some great pictures here. And, you know, again, like I said, you know, Railblazer somewhere in the trees, or, you know, somewhere along where you can get a view of it from the water would be awesome for this park, I feel like. Well, I was actually sitting here waiting to get an off-ride shot, but it looks like Wolverine Wildcat has closed temporarily, so looks like we'll start with Shivering Timbers. I wanted to give Wolverine Wildcat one more ride, and then, yeah, at least do Shivering Timbers a couple more times, maybe 5 more times, or 3 more times, for a total of 5 rides. Fortunately, it looks like besides the parking lot, there's not a whole lot of spots to get Shivering Timbers footage. Look, Michigan, I know it's legal here, but your whole park should not smell like THC. So I think the plan now is to do 2 more rides on Shivering Timbers, go back, do 1 on Wolverine Wildcat, then come do one more on Shivering Timbers. Oh, look at this. This ride is completely walk on up to the station now. Barely stacked. I'm not even mad at that. In a park with mediocre operations, this Shivering Timbers crew is killing it. Also, I wonder why it like jostles up and down as it comes into the brake run. I'll film a better shot on the next train. Look at the airtime on the brake run. Look at the obs. I mean, nothing to complain about there. If that train were there, you know, it would save them some more time. So that was my third ride on Shivering Timbers. And now that I know what to expect, you know, I'm enjoying it a little bit more. It is one of those rides though where I'm grabbing onto the bar in front of me instead of having my hands up, just to, you know, keep my body propped up so that the roughness isn't too bad. And I am starting to enjoy the airtime. It hasn't warmed up or anything, but I'm starting to really, you know, I guess process some of the airtime moments. Most of it is floater, but that standing floater that you get with those awesome PTC trains. But man, this ride is just so rough. And it's not a train thing. They would need to do some major retracking to fix, you know, the roughness of this ride. But I am really starting to enjoy it a little bit more now. Well, Wolverine Wildcat has since reopened. And just because this was such a unique ride and I really like the layout, I'm going to give it one more go in the front row. And then I'm going to head to Shivering Timbers and do 2 back-to-back rides to finish out my day here. Oh wow, look at this. I'm gonna wait for the front, but hopefully we get some train weight behind us. So something worth noticing is, you know, I know a lot of people like to get non-wheel seats. On this ride, they are 3 rows per car, so you can do that. But on Shivering Timbers, there's only 2 rows per car, so there's no such thing as a non-wheel seat. So that was my second front row ride on Wolverine Wildcat. And again, like Shivering Timbers, now that I knew what to expect, I really enjoyed that. There were some really good out of your seat airtime moments on that ride. Some rough spots, but I mean, I really, really quite like that. I'm glad I got a second ride on it. And you know what? I think there's one more ride that deserves a second ride from me. And this is the ride that I think I would love to get a second ride on. It's not every day that you get to go on a Wild Mouse that doesn't have trims, but it's definitely not every day you get to go on a Wild Mouse that was built by Aerodynamics. So yeah, this looks like it broke down though, but let's investigate. They don't close the queue, so it's not like I can't still walk right up to the station. Again, this is, you can see the station just right up there. This is all that is the line. And yeah, they estimate this to be 1 hour. Maybe with how they run it, it is an actual hour, but I couldn't imagine waiting in that whole thing with how slow that line moves. So they're free. This is the one that gets loaded. One just went off the lift hill. They're waiting, so yeah, they're getting loaded. They're free, they are stuck, and they are stuck. So yeah, interesting. Well, that was a second ride on Wild Mouse. I had to do it. One for this one here at Michigan's Adventure, and then a second time for the one at California's Great America that I missed. It is so fun. Again, it feels like it was designed for the trims to be used, but you just get thrown out of your seat on the turns. And then what's weird is like when you descent, you feel like you're at the maximum angle and then your car like jerks. So a little bit of aero jank on that, but that is a great Wild Mouse. And I'm really starting to enjoy my day here. Yeah, so like I said, I'm starting to enjoy the park a little bit more. That Wild Mouse was a really, really fun ride. Honestly, it's competing for Wolverine Wildcat for being my second favorite here, but Wolverine Wildcat is a great ride. I mean, there's some great airtime moments. And yeah, that ride really surprised me. In fact, it's a lot closer to Shivering Timbers than I would argue some people would say. So let's go end the day off with 2 back-to-back rides on Shivering Timbers. And yeah, I'll give you my full thoughts and we'll see. Other than some of the little things, the only thing that would make this day that much better is if that SLC opened, but no action over there, so I'm not gonna count on it. This log flume actually looks really, really fun. If I didn't have a 6-hour drive that I would not want to do with wet clothes, I would actually do that. Also, I would definitely say I've gotten my money's worth out of this fast lane. I mean, $55. And if you're like me and you get in the park for free because you've got the season pass, I feel like it's definitely worth that to get a lot of re-rides. A little bit of a ramp wait now. But hey, this crew's killing it, so sure, it's not too bad. I was really ready to say that I didn't think that ride lived up to the hype, but that ride just now, I was actually holding onto the bar in front of me, bracing the entire time, and that was everything I expected and wanted that ride to be. I mean, the airtime was absolutely amazing. There's some, again, a lot of floater where you can still stand out of your seat, but there was some flowjector where I was absolutely lifted out of my seat into my lap bar. That was awesome. My 4th ride, and we're gonna go for one more ride. That was awesome. Just continuing the uplifting vibes of the vlog, getting better and better. So I'm trying to rank that among my wooden coasters. There's actually 2 rides that I don't rank anymore, and that's because I rode Lightning Rod when it was all wood and had the launch, and that was one of my favorite woodies, and I haven't ridden El Toro since 2016. So without those 2 in there, that's probably my number 3 favorite wooden coaster behind Voyage. And honestly, I'm tossing it up if I like Gold Striker that better. That was awesome, and I'm definitely gonna buy a shirt for that now. Now, I've lost some weight before this season, but one thing I want to say is this park hasn't had a single ride where I've been close to not fitting. So I think in terms of larger guest accessibility, this park is doing a great job. Trust me, I was so ready to be like, that's a great ride, but they're overhyping it a little. I wouldn't travel all the way out to this park just for it, but that last ride was awesome. So much airtime, and I was ready for the roughness. So let's give it one more ride. Now, I've already said a ride like Railblazer would fit great here, but this park also needs some good food options because I haven't eaten all day, and there's really nothing that's enticing me to use my dining plan here. So I think like a Chicken Shack place or like a Coney Barbecue, a nice barbecue joint, would do well here. So it's actually nice to be back in a chill park. I was at Cedar Point, and you know, they aggressively assigned me to row 3 on Siren's Curse, so it's nice to be at a chill park with no separator where you can just flood the station, and yeah, just a chill park in general. So I'm gonna guess that the water park is about to close, and that's why the lines are now longer again. So let's get this ride and let's get out of here. I am so sorry for the disrespect I gave this thing by comparing it to the racer at Kings Island. I mean, wow. And one thing I noticed just on that last ride is that helix pulls some awesome laterals. In fact, it feels like the Beast Helix, and you can feel it beating up the track, and wow, what a ride. So this is definitely one of those parks where I feel like you want to have the Tylenol on deck for some of the rides, but I mean, with some more retrack work, if they keep care of that ride is awesome. I mean, wow, it is so rough. And again, once I learned to expect that and rode the ride, you really notice how great the airtime is. It's actually really like Voyage, except instead of that twister section, there's more and more airtime hills. And you know, there's some hills where you're just, again, you get that great standing airtime, but then there's a hill that's like shorter than that where you get sustained flowjector airtime. That ride is awesome. Oh, the sun's coming out. I think I'm gonna head right in here to this general store and see if there's any cool shirts. Oh, look at this. Not sure which one I'm gonna take. Really wish this was open. I think this is the best one. Nothing on the back, but if I liked hoodies, I would definitely get this one there. That one is awesome. So unless I'm forgetting one, Shivering Timbers, Mystic Timbers, and Twisted Timbers, I think I've completed all 3 of the Timbers rides. And to be honest, Shivering Timbers is probably my favorite one of the 3. Definitely better than Mystic Timbers. While I'm heading back on this dock just to get this last shot of Wolverine Wildcat that I wanted to get earlier, and again, just enjoying the view. To recap the day with this amazing shot behind me. Got 5 rides on Shivering Timbers. Not ending the vlog, by the way, just recapping. 5 on Shivering Timbers. Got 2 on Wolverine Wildcat, 2 on the Wild Mouse, 1 on their Corkscrew, and then 1 on Zach Zoomer, which is the kiddie coaster. Oh, that ride's going. Let me turn around. Oh, you can see the Titan track there. I feel like it would be so interesting to see somebody who's only been to Michigan's Adventure their whole life go to Cedar Point and just see their first reactions. And then how do you come back to Michigan's Adventure after that? To be honest, I'd have to move to Ohio. But today I would say we covered the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it is actually amazing how much Shivering Timbers grew on me. Sort of like Gold Striker, where the more I rode it, the more and more I fell in love with it. And yeah, definitely an elite ride. I mean, would I say you got to come out here to this park that's in the middle of nowhere and not close to anything else just for that? I mean, if you're really an enthusiast, I feel like you got to, but otherwise, unless they announce this park's closing, you know, then I would book a trip out here. But I am actually really, really glad I came. The sun is now out and about, shining in my face. But yeah, I'm really glad I came. Let's keep walking. Again, sorry for, I guess, how negative the vlog started, but I feel a lot better about this park. It's still a mid-tier park, you know, but it's not, well, I don't know if I've ever been to a worse park, but it's not the worst thing ever. But am I itching to come back out here anytime soon? Probably not, unless they add another standout ride. Well, with the sign behind me, that is gonna do it for my time at Michigan's Adventure, a park I've wanted to cross off the list for so long. I started with yeah, I see why people don't like that park too. Now that's a decent park. Is it the best park ever? No. But would I rush out here? No. But, you know, I looked at the park for what it was, got on some great rides, and yeah, documented it all for you guys. So if you guys are still watching, I appreciate you for making it to the end, even got some merch. So my name is Will. I read every single comment I get, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Can you catch me?